Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. The keys to the Warriors' success this season. Many are already writing off the Warriors in 2024-25, but if they were to succeed, how would they do it? Steph Curry will be the team's main offensive option, but they are hoping his young Padawan in Brandon Podziemski will reach new heights. The Warriors also believe that Brandon Podziemski is going to take off, Windhorst said on the Hoop Collective. They have put a lot of faith in that fact. Not just in what they've done with their roster, but the opportunity that they've passed. There was a huge interest in Podziemski in the trade market. We know that they sniffed on Paul George and sniffed on Lauri Markkanen. And it's not the only reason that they didn't get those deals done, but part of the reason was because they said Podziemski is off limits. ESPN think that Podziemski isn't the only one who the team has put a lot of faith in and that Steve Kerr needs to find a winning formula before it's too late. Kerr and the Warriors have been searching for a winning recipe since their 2022 title, attempting to thread the needle between relying on their veteran core while incorporating younger talent. But finding that balance has been challenging for Kerr, as Golden State missed the playoffs last season and then lost Klay Thompson in free agency shortly after, ESPN said. Multiple times last season, Kerr admitted to not knowing who he would turn to on a night-to-night basis, resulting in a revolving door of starting lineups and rotations. Finding a group he can count on is at the top of Kerr's to-do list this season. After that, it simply comes down to, how good can the Warriors be? For a team that's used to making the playoffs and winning titles, their barometer for success is rings. And Kerr has to get them back into contention. The Bulls are looking to make things right with Zach LaVine after vicious rumors and some intense conversations these past couple of seasons. The 29-year-old's relationship with the Bulls is on the mend, according to Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. LaVine spent most of the summer talking over his differences with head coach Billy Donovan. That is a huge change from how LaVine and Donovan's relationship was in December. Cowley reported then that it was broken from a professional standpoint and that LaVine no longer wants to play for Donovan and really hasn't wanted to since last season. Of course, it's great that Chicago are looking to patch things up with the guard, but it isn't hard to see their plan. If LaVine and the team appear to be getting along and he starts the season off well, they may be able to finally trade him. Though many NBA teams may see past this ploy and don't exactly have the cap space to facilitate his massive contract. $138 million is still owed to LaVine over the next 3 seasons. With such a large chunk of the team's fund tied up in LaVine, it's difficult to blow the team up and start again. The Bulls are in even more of a dire situation after losing their main scorer, DeMar DeRozan, to the Kings over the summer. The franchise only got Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks for DeRozan. Plus, there will be no Alex Caruso on defense after the team traded him for OKC guard Josh Giddey. Not since Derrick Rose was running point has the team been able to win consistently. Stephen Curry's hilarious reaction to seeing Klay Thompson chat with new teammate Derek Lively too. Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson may no longer be teammates but they'll always be friends, as seen by the smiles on their faces when they bumped into each other during the Aces vs Liberty WNBA game tonight. Curry's face changed when he realized Klay was there with new Mavs teammate Derek Lively too, prompting the 2022 Finals MVP to say EW and walk off laughing. Curry was clearly joking when he said EW, having fun at the expense of his former teammate being in a new city amongst new teammates. The bond between Curry and Thompson is incredibly deep, with Klay having to request Steph to not force the Warriors to keep him on the franchise when he was testing free agency. In 13 seasons as teammates, Curry and Klay won 4 titles and established themselves as 2 of the greatest shooters in NBA history. But as they aged and Klay dealt with over 2 years on the sidelines after tearing his ACL and then Achilles, their backcourt duo stopped looking invincible. The Warriors won a title the second Klay returned in the 2021-22 season, but have firmly fallen out of the top of the West over the last 2 seasons. Curry needs to find a way to deliver without Klay in the 2024-25 season. Meanwhile, Klay will hope he's an efficient tertiary scorer on the Mavericks behind both Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. The bond that Steph and Klay enjoyed was very strong, and Klay's departure wasn't caused by his relationship with either Curry or Draymond Green. Klay leaving Golden State is a basketball move, but his absence will take time to get used to for players like Steph. Not having Klay, man. It still hasn't really sunk in, just because you've been doing it for 13 years together. Coach made a joke, he's like, sometimes you can't really find Klay in the off-seasons, and you don't really hear from him as much. And then he shows up at training camp ready to go. I kind of have this idea that in October, he'll still be like, hey guys, what's up? But I know it's not happening. That'll sink in a little bit once training camp starts. Having Klay head on to Dallas, it's tough. It's something that I never imagined would be a reality, but you want him to be happy. You want him to be able to enjoy the game of basketball. It does suck losing Klay, and there's no two ways around it. You have to be able to celebrate what we accomplished, but then be able to move on. Klay left Golden State on a poor note, shooting 0-11 in the Warriors' play-in tournament loss to the Sacramento Kings. He also averaged career lows outside his rookie season with 17.9 points on 38.7% from 3 last season. Hopefully, the offensive gravity of Luka and Kyrie help Klay get easier looks on offense as compared to being an out-of-his-prime co-star for Curry right now. Warriors' chances of trading for 6x All-Star may have just received a boost. After failing to land All-Stars Paul George and Lauri Markkanen earlier this offseason, the Golden State Warriors are still on the search for a big-name player to pair with franchise superstar Stephen Curry. If there's a list of stars the Warriors should be monitoring over the next 6 months, Jimmy Butler would be a prominent name given his current contract uncertainty at the Miami Heat. The 34-year-old is up for an extension and has the possibility of becoming an unrestricted free agent should he opt out of his player option for 2025-26. Would Butler be open to a move away from Miami in the near future? Well, according to Brian Lewis of the New York Post on Saturday, the 6x All-Star is fond of Brooklyn even despite the franchise's current rebuilding mode. Butler isn't just open to Brooklyn, but fond of it, sources told the Post. Now, he's not a net and he might never get close to becoming one. But to dismiss the possibility out of hand is foolish, Lewis wrote. Perhaps Butler is opening himself up to the possibility of leaving the Heat after 5 years and 2 NBA Finals appearances. If that's the case, a trade could be on the horizon which may give Golden State the opportunity to seize on the Curry co-star they've been looking for. The Warriors have already been linked to Butler in late May, with Anthony Slater of The Athletic proposing the 13-year veteran as a target after reports of uneasiness in Miami after their first-round playoff series defeat to the Boston Celtics. Butler missed the entire series through injury and hasn't played more than 65 games in a season since 2016-17. He averaged 20.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 5.0 assists last season, shooting 49.9% from the floor and a career-high 41.4% from three-point range. Any trade for Butler would be difficult given his $48.8 million contract for next season, and the Warriors would have to commit to a significant extension to eliminate the risk of him departing for Brooklyn or elsewhere in free agency. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.